When you trust Ferguson Roof Systems to replace your roof, we go the extra mile to protect your home and property. On every job, we deploy durable netting to protect your home's exterior and landscaping. It's just one more reason why you should call Ferguson Roof Systems today.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle with you. It is time because we're at about 10 minutes till noon. So this is just in time for your lunchtime preparations as you head out the door and grab you something to eat, or if you made something and you're put in the microwave, whichever it may be. Welcome to AT's Weather. We're going to talk about the snowstorm coming our way. So if you missed last night's discussion, we took a look at the models, and if you missed the last few discussions, we were talking about the upcoming change in our pattern, how it's going to be a lot more exciting around here, some opportunities for some storm systems to come through. Two of them on our way. So one's Saturday. Not a whole lot of fanfare with that one, but the one that comes in Monday night into all day Tuesday, that one should be something that'll get the water cooler buzzing. So welcome to the water cooler talk. So if you're on Facebook, by the way, click this link. You can get opted in when I do go live. By the way, if you have opted in that link before, you have to hit you get the DM from me, you have to hit manage messages and then re-opt in every so often. I don't know how many times, but it's enough to where if you stop doing it, you'll stop getting my DMs, and so then you won't get the notification. Now, the flip side of that, I finally figured out why a lot of us weren't getting notified when I go live, or some of the other pages you may follow. And I put the video, it's a short video, 2-minute video on how you can fix that. It's below this live broadcast on my Facebook wall. So if you're having trouble there, then there you go. Jared, man, I was looking for you last night. I talked about you. DFW snow, is it going to happen? It's looking likely. So we'll take a look at that here in a second. By the way, you guys on YouTube, thanks for checking in. As always, I see you, Jim from Mustang. Nancy's in the house, Connor, and Christopher Hubbard, my buddy way up north, the Northern Plains and Great Lakes area. He likes the weather down south too. He's a big weather lover everywhere. But let's get on with the program, shall we? By the way, thank you for sending the stars, Jared. Anytime you guys send stars on Facebook, I do highly appreciate those, as always. All right, let's get into the meat, potatoes, right? All right, so our first little upper level system is out here spinning around over the Four Corners area of the United States. This is the one that's going to pass just to our north. So it's pretty good, but it's just going to unfortunately kind of go more of an influence up here into Kansas than it is in Oklahoma. So it will give us a little bit of rain, but also a little bit of snow mixed in. Temperatures out there today, a little cold this morning, but we're starting to rebound pretty nice now. We're into the 50s, the lower half, 40s across the northern half. All right, so here's a look at the big picture. I'm just picked the European data from last night, just kind of show you where we're at here with this. Let's see here. Let me back it up to this guy here. All right, so you can see how on this particular map, most of the snow for this Saturday storm system is still anchored across Kansas. We get a little mixture of the rain, maybe a little bit of thunderstorm activity, and then a little bit of white snowflakes mixed in for parts of the state. Then that kind of moves out. So it's not a really big deal for us. Then as you kind of focus on our time frame on into Monday. So there's Sunday right there in Monday morning. See all the little snow developing, showing up across the Rockies for Colorado and New Mexico? That's our storm system. And I watch it blossom as it goes into Texas. Once it hits the Texas panhandle for Tuesday morning, it starts to go nuts. I mean, it's cranking out severe weather down there along the coast of Texas and Louisiana. On the backside, it's got blowing snow across Dallas-Fort Worth, all the way back into western Texas. And yes, here in Oklahoma, we got that mixture of purple on the map, which means the model's having a tough time deciding if it's going to be a very cold rain or very heavy wet snow. And then there's the Tuesday evening wraparound snow on the back end, and there you go. So the question for us will always be the source region of the cold air. In other words, is there enough cold air around to give us a dumpage of snow? So for example, I'm picking just the center part of the map here in the purple to kind of showcase this, all right? So this is the sounding profile in the atmosphere, the forecast time. Now, if you look, I'm going to mark this. This is the 0 degree Celsius line going up in the atmosphere. So that means is anything west of this line aloft is all below zero. So remember, 0 in Celsius equal to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So those are both the freezing point. Now, the problem is if this line jots to the right of this yellow line, then we get above freezing. So it does have the surface temperature of 35 degrees. Now, it can snow at 35 because it barely gets to 35, just just as you get to the ground level. So it's all snow all the way down, and it tries to melt, but it's too little too late. It falls too fast, and it manages to stick. So that's how you can get snow around here, even when it's 36 degrees. It's hard to do so. But most of our heavier wet snows in Oklahoma happen when temperatures kind of in that favored 33 to 34, possibly 35 degree mark. That's kind of in that sweet spot there where sometimes we can just get some crazy amounts. So this kind of fits that status, and that's why the model's confused. It's whether or not to go all snow or very cold rain. In the end of the day, it's going to go with snow. All right, so let's take a look here at the position of the track of the storm. This is all the critical thing, by the way. Any jot in the track, and you can go from feast to famine when it comes to snow. So right now, the newest Canadian run this morning has the center of the upper low right over Wichita Falls. So that's pretty good. It's along the Red River. That gives snow for both Oklahoma and even North Texas. The American model, a little bit more east of that. But it corrected. Remember last night it was way out here, and I told you it would self-correct back to match the others, and then bring all that foot of snow that it had across Arkansas, Missouri, back in Oklahoma. Guess what? That's exactly what it did. So there you go. Now this is right over looks like Ardmore, just south of Ardmore, maybe Gainesville for the center of it below on I-35. And the UK Met, it's still weakening, but at least the position is a little bit better, and it's not as weak as it was last night. So it's starting to come around. So the good news is there's a lot of model agreement with the pattern overall. Now, if you remember last night when I'm about to sign off, I said, let's take a look at the icon, the German model, because I've been watching it for winters, and it sometimes does pretty good, and other times it was a little goofy. So last night when we looked at it, I said, this thing's goofy. And I just said, let's not even pretend that we even saw that. So today it came around. It goes, oh, I was just kidding. And so when we head into Tuesday afternoon to match the other models, it actually has the low centered right here over Oklahoma City. All right, so that's a big difference though in the jog of the track, right? From North Texas to and the Red River to Oklahoma City. That, you know how far it is to drive from here to Dallas, and that will affect your overall snow totals. Now, just for fun, this particular model, when it comes to that, it does shift the snow then as a result out of Texas and then back in Oklahoma, and it's got much lighter amounts, 1 to 4 inches across the state. But that kind of is just now coming around, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of weight in that one, and I'm going to put more of the basket of the summary, what we're looking for in the signal wise. Okay, so let's talk about when the snow is going to start here for this weekend. So we got a little bit of rain that'll come in for Saturday, 3 o'clock in the morning out here in eastern Texas, western Oklahoma. So when you start out the day in western Oklahoma, it's going to be a little bit wet. That blue is the snow showing up here around the Woodward area and northwest. We talked about that last night. Boy, I just jumped a few frames. Let's go back here. Noon on Saturday. So again, for the morning hours to right around lunch is when our rainfall will hit here in Oklahoma City in the I-35 corridor. Again, the snow up into Kansas for the most part. By afternoon, it kind of moves east of the greater Oklahoma City metro area, but Tulsa's getting some rain. And there's still another round that'll come in for the evening. So if you have any plans outdoors on Saturday, unfortunately, you have to dodge some hit and miss showers. They're not going to be that heavy, just more of a nuisance. You might get some wet snowflakes mixed in here on this back end with this last hurrah in the evening hours. Otherwise, some light snow up here across Kansas and into like Ponca City up to around maybe even Tulsa. Tulsa will be around on the southern fringe of that as well. So you'll probably see a few snowflakes mixed in. There's Bartlesville, Miami. You guys are all going to get a little bit of snow. And there's a little, look at that little batch of new snow that showed up in the data. That's different. At 4 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning. So there you go. You might have a little dusting of light snow when you wake up around the Tulsa area for Sunday morning, if it doesn't melt by the time you get up. And the reason why I say that is because temperatures will be above freezing. If you do look at the rainfall amounts, not a whole lot. Like I said, kind of a nuisance, anywhere from a couple of tenths of inch. Sometimes you get a little pocket, maybe some heavier stuff. There are some signals somewhere might get 3 to 4 tenths. Northern Oklahoma, there's 3 tenths, 2 tenths. So, decent for some. Now, again, some of that will be transitioning over to snow up here far northwest Oklahoma. So, for example, if we take a look at the HER model, which is our high resolution, it does try to produce at least a little bit of measurable snow here in central Oklahoma. Now, currently that is an outlier because our temperature's a little warm, so I'm not really favorable of this, but northwest is fine. The way you look at it right now, that's anywhere from 1 to 4 inches, which kind of jives from last night's weather discussion that we looked at with the earlier model data. But a lot of it, some of the models still kind of keep it up here to the north. Like I said, there's that little maybe slight dusting of some white stuff on the ground in northern Tulsa County by Sunday morning. All right, let's see here. Let's go on to temperatures. So obviously it was kind of chilly this morning, but by this afternoon we're back into the 50s across the state. So that looks pretty decent, right? And then by Saturday morning we're back into the 30s to 40s. The coolest exception that will be up across the northern counties, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have some upper 30s here, but we do have mid 30s, like around Woodwards. There's 35 degrees. There's 36. Remember, that's where the model thinks it's going to snow, and that's what I'm telling you. It's you can still get snow when it's above freezing. It just typically doesn't stick around. It kind of melts pretty fast. But if it comes down heavy enough and long enough, it'll overcome the melting. But usually roads are pretty good. So that's the good news in this. It should not be an issue with roadways unless it was some very tiny, brief, 20-minute window before the ground temps were able to overcome the snowfall rate and then melt it back just to keep wet streets. So anyway, Saturday in the evening, we're back into the 30s. That's why I was saying you could see a few flakes of snow in here in Oklahoma City. Just right now, I'm not too excited about it at this point in time. I'll look at new data later, but right now I'm not in your area. And then on Sunday, we rebound back into the 40s to near 50 across most of the southern half of Oklahoma. A few degrees cooler, obviously, up to the north. Quite a bit colder in Ponca City for a high of 41 on Sunday. Winds aren't going to be bad over the weekend. And, of course, we got cloud cover on Saturday, but Sunday's not too terrible. All right, now, focus in the snowfall. So this is the European model. Last night we looked at its ensemble runs. There were a few breaks in these where it did not see snow, but the majority of them it did. And today, it has even more snow. And some of this is ridiculous. 13 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches, 15 inches. My goodness, there's a lot of these in the mid 4s to 8. Now, there are some in the dusting category. There's still a couple of holdouts here where they say no snow in the expansion of it. All right, I saw that I might be buffering or not quite making contact on one of my lives. Just kind of glanced over to the right. I don't know who it would be, but my apologies. I might have some internet problems. All right, so let's see. European ensembles. Okay, so these all different panels, same model, but run 50 different times. And you can see how just about all of them have snow. It's just a question of exact placement in exact amounts, feast or famine. I mean, some of these, like I said, up to around 15 inches of snow on the peaks of these, and some of these around a dusting to all of Oklahoma. So it's a big storm system, a lot of coverage. The Canadian model that came out this morning has the bulk of the snow up here across the northwestern parts of the state on into the Texas Panhandle. I'm buffering on Facebook, so every now and then my phone's telling me that. And then not as much here across southeast. Now remember, these are going to move it around off and on the next couple of days. The American model went nuts. It woke up and just decided, sure, why not? So it's got quite a bit of snow now here, 8 to 10 inches of central to southwest Oklahoma to around a foot in some of these areas. And it almost brings the snow here to Dallas County and Rockwall, but definitely back a forecast cycle. In other words, get some data from last night. Just look at the European, just to put that on the map here, and it shows you how much more is far to the south. So there's still plenty of wiggle room, plenty of time to massage the details on location. If you were just kind of blend the models together, taking not the extremes, but kind of an average of the, more conservative numbers, this is what the output would be. A dusting of snow across the majority of the state on down to Dallas-Fort Worth, and then the heavier, more accumulating snows from I-40 and I-35 north and west out into the Texas Panhandle. So this would be the real snow. That's your take home with that. And then you listen for highs on Wednesday and Thursday of next week into the 30s. Again, we start to kind of cool things down latter part of the weekend on our Monday of next week. And there we go. So lows back into the 20s there briefly. But look what it does. The GFS, it has this about a foot of snow. I just picked the middle of the states. It's Oklahoma City, but there's a foot of snow there. If we looked at the European model, it has about 5 inches of snow for its operational run. This is just like a pick of the litter. Remember, there's 50 of them, but it just picked us. I want to show you. Oh, this is the parts of central, south central Oklahoma. So both versions of the old version and the new version of the GFS are excited about that. All right, let me show you and then by the way, temperatures on the extended, that's what I was going to talk about. Like I mentioned, kind of a little bit of dip over the weekend into early next week. And then after that, supposedly a rise. I will tell you this, toward the end of the month, there's still some question as to what's going to happen here if we're actually going to be that warm and a half. I looked at the data this morning and it wasn't quite as, let's see, anything. Yeah, again, I'm sorry about the, which is an ongoing issue. And sometimes I'll go and hotspot that just so I can get a signal. Shouldn't have to check my Wi-Fi or my internet. For me, I got to get out of here because I'm on lunch break tonight, I'm thinking. And then tomorrow morning, tomorrow. I'll probably do live at some point during the day. In the morning, Jody and I will be on our Team Tuttle Realty live broadcast, which is Saturday mornings. I welcome you guys to join me then. It's about 9 o'clock. We just drink some coffee, sit back and chit-chat. It's over my Facebook page there called Team Tuttle Realty. And we'll talk about the latest market conditions, interest rates, what's shaking and baking in the world of real estate, and also give you a topic of the day, which gives you some information that's helpful. So like last week, we interviewed Jamie Ferguson from Ferguson Roof Systems, and we talked all about roofs. All right, so we have lenders, we got, for mortgages, we've got title companies, we've got insurance. So we have a lot in the pipeline coming up to provide value for you, so that it's good to know. It's anything that you're going to need for owning a home, either buying a home, selling a home, or just living in it. We talk to all the experts, get all the insides, ins and outs. So that includes, plumbing and AC work, whatever. So we're gonna have interviews continuously on that platform. So make sure you join us over there. Just like and the page and follow it, and to make sure your notifications are turned on, like I showed you here below this video on my wall on Facebook. If you're late, watch that 2-minute video. It tells you how to make sure you can get your notifications when I go live, or any of your pages that you follow go live, because Facebook basically turns it off for you by default now, which is irritating. So you'll want to turn that back on. And so if you're wondering, hey, I haven't seen you much lately, I've been around. So Facebook just decided not to show you. Obviously, there's another flip of that. You can join me on Rumble and YouTube and Twitter, and all of those will notify you when I go live as well, and do a better job at it. Again, I don't know what Facebook's thinking. I don't know what they're doing. I'm irritated with them just like you are. I just use their platform to get out my message, and my message is the weather. So it's a good message. Okay, I'm out. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for chiming in, and we will talk with you soon. Take care.